welcome to Trucks and Tractor Power here on TNN. Today it's motor racing action in the Northeast. We're at the Four-Wheel Jamboree Nationals in beautiful Essex, Junction, Vermont. And today it's exciting Class 5 racing action. Hi, I'm Tom Rivers. Welcome to Trucks and Tractor Power. It's great to be able to hang out with folks who have the same common interest in four-wheel drive and trucks and motorsports as we do. There's another common interest here on the grounds, though. It's over in the pits. And that common interest is who can master the 180 feet of mud. For that, we go to my partner, Army Armstrong. Army?
Indeed, Tom. The 180-foot pit they're going to be racing through has the driver's concern. But they have a genuine care for what's after that 180-foot pit. I'm sitting on a concrete barrier. It's located in front of an electrical outlet. There are two of these electrical outlets that are permanently affixed to the infield of this course. You got to remember, these courses are made to run 2 and 3 days a year. So the permanent structures take precedent. What do you do about the permanent structures? It's real simple. You have to put the concrete barriers in front of them. But if you look over my shoulder, you'll notice the drivers that come out of the pit in the right lane have 3 major obstacles to get around. It's basically going to be like tap dancing in a minefield. You got to get through the pit, then you got to shut that puppy down on the big end.
We'll keep an eye on that. Let's look at our point standings. At number 1, Jeremy Finley at 450 points, followed by Wilhite, Martin, Lane, and Behrman. And speaking of Behrman, let's get to the starting line for our first race today.
And the order in which you run is determined by the luck of the draw, and Behrman's at number 5 in the national points chase. Draws at number 1 slot, meaning he'll be the first to go down the track in the beautiful 27 Ford Roadster out of Holland, Michigan. It's a good shot of the cut tires. The class tires here must be highway approved tires, and then each driver modifies them themselves. Behrman the first into the lights, Tom, and he'll be going up against another driver that we've not seen on the circuit before in a beautiful 23 Ford Roadster. As a matter of fact, the new driver's taking his time going into the starting line, trying to build a little bit of heat. Rodney McGlynn's the gentleman's name.
Taking his time getting up to the line.
Yeah, both Behrman fired quite a few. Now remember, an alcohol engine, as you well know, burns cool. The more heat you get, the more horsepower it makes. But there is a point where you can get too hot and start robbing horsepower.
So in our first Class 5 race, it's Behrman versus McGlynn.
McGlynn far lane, Behrman closest.
Sounds like they're warming up, almost up to the line, and see what happens.
180 feet. Oh, Behrman made a move, but then comes only on a big end. Had a little bit of trouble shutting it down in the shutdown area, but I think everything's okay.
Rodney McGlynn with a good time in tropical disease of 2.5.
And Behrman drills it with a 381 with a 9. Not the number he was looking for, but what happened when Behrman left the line? It looked like it hooked. Yeah, we got a replay coming. Watch him hook to the left. He'll bang the wall. Now backpedal. Meanwhile, McGlynn is on rock and roll. He's coming to the other end big time.
Spent a lot of time on that line. Let's see if we can figure out how it affected him. Here's Army.
Mike, it seemed like you sat up there for an awfully long time before you made the run.
Yeah, it seemed like the other guy was trying to burn me down, it felt like, but I was waiting.
What kind of heat do you have in the motor now?
Yeah, it's over 220 degrees.
Well, that's what happens when you spend some time up on that line.
Like I say, in an alcohol motor, heat's good, but hot will kill the horsepower, and that's exactly what happened there.
Well, back in the staging area here, we're going to see our next heat, and that's going to see 2 drivers who we're pretty familiar with here on the circuit.
The fellow we just saw a moment ago was Rodney Covington. He'll be going up against Brian MAIETTA here out of Danbury, Connecticut, so we don't get a chance to see this guy very often. And he wants to come up here and run with the big boys, and they come up in the Northeast. Covington right here out of Maryland himself, a real hard charger, relies on the Keith Chrysler Hemi engine. The vehicle you're looking at now relies on the Chevrolet for horsepower.
So it's a classic kind of race in terms of getting up to the line, Ford versus Chevy. The time to beat, of course, is the 2.5 run in the last heat.
I think that number will go down before the day's over. The track looks good. The drivers like it. The shutdown area here is really nice. The drivers are real comfortable with it. So again, the one thing I'm noticing today is all the drivers are taking a whole lot of time to stage the vehicles. They're trying to get some heat in the motors.
Let's see how that affects them here as they launch heat number 2.
Whoa, good side-by-side start. Both drivers, when they get the end, split in different directions.
Great run, but Rodney got a little too much on it there.
Oh, man, out of bounds. That's got to make him sick. The 275 will not affect the lead.
Let's take a look at the replay here. You'll see, take a look. It starts off as a good, strong head-to-head race. Rodney's doing just fine, but here, right towards the end of the track, he gets it up on the side, and DQ's going out of bounds. Army?
Good news and bad news. Good news, you made a good run. Bad news, the word we get, you hit the stake on the other end, you're disqualified. I know you're not a happy camper.
No, sir, I'm not a happy camper. But what are you going to do? Just come back tomorrow and try again?
What did the track feel like? It looked like you were making awesome horsepower. You made a little bit of a lift towards the end of the track, but that looked like you were just putting the horsepower down.
Yeah, the track could take the horsepower. Just, I guess it spun a little crooked at the starting line, and I couldn't correct it.
Well, he'll come back and race another day, and we'll have more racing action from Essex Junction, Vermont, when we come back. Welcome back to beautiful Essex Junction, Vermont, for the New England Four-Wheel Jamboree Nationals. It's a gorgeous day here, and we've got some great racing going on. Track conditions look like they're ideal, Army.
Yeah, the drivers are liking the track as Darren Tippett comes up in a 27 Ford Roadster open body vehicle, and he'll be going up against Mike Camella out of Ohio in the bunkers. And Mike's trying to put together a new chassis combination. He's hooked up with the KCD people trying to get his vehicle to bite off the starting line. All the drivers today, Tom, you notice, are taking a lot of time
In the staging area, but the time to beat on the track here is 2:05.
Camella made the move first. Tippett comes back on the other end.
Good straight-ahead run. Mike Camella, though, not quite strong enough. Bonkers comes in at a 2.9. Darren Tippett's better. Midnight Magic at a 2.6, but not good enough.
Yeah, neither one of them are going to affect the lead, but look at the track. The track on the right-hand side is a lot wetter. See the highlight? Camella's running in that wetness. The track on the left side of the screen from the camera eye is a lot drier. Lane choice could prove to be fatal before the day's over, just by the fact one's wetter than the other, Tom.
But still straight ahead, some good straight-ahead racing in this sport. Now, Tom Martin up on the line. And Tom's got an interesting story with his Quaker State vehicle. Spent some time over the past season working on it, and Army had a chance to talk to him about that work.
Starting off 1996 with a brand new sponsor package from Quaker State and Slick 50. Six-time world champion Tom Martin was about the most optimistic guy out there. Didn't take him long to find out something was wrong with the combination. He had lost the horsepower that had gained him those 6 world championships. But Tom, I understand you made a trek up into New York and found some horsepower you've been looking for all year long.
That's true. You know, we've been struggling all year. We made the decision to go up to Jim Oddie in New York. He's got a dyno facility to find the horsepower, and we found it. We went in there with 1,300 horsepower. He found some piston problems. We weren't sealing the heads, and we come out of there with a little over 1,800 horsepower, so we're looking good here in Vermont.
Word is you spent 10 hours in there and you picked up 500 horsepower. That is time well spent.
It's very well spent. As we left yesterday afternoon, Jim said to tighten my seatbelt because I'm going for a ride.
That's the gospel. Jim Ottie's been making horsepower in the sport of drag racing for years. I'm glad to see he and a lot of other engine builders recognizing this sport and really stepping up on a horsepower for these guys, because this is real racing, as you well know, Tom.
Well, like anything else, you can't stay on top of any professional motorsport without reinventing and looking at all of your equipment, and that's exactly what Tom Martin did. He's going up against Joey Villarreal and Joey Quick, and Joey's car was owned by Tom Martin previously.
Yeah, it's an identical car. If there's such thing as a mirror run, this is going to be it. The only difference is the paint job and the experience. Martin in the far lane, a lot more experience than Joey in the Joey Quick car.
The track's been running nice today, so we should get some good times as Villarreal and Martin try to beat a 2.5. That is the time to beat.
Martin made the move first.
He got right out there.
Yeah, good. Oh, Joey comes out, has to do a little negotiating at the end of the track. Martin goes to 2.56, showing it can be done.
Very close. Joey Villarreal, Joey Quick at a 2.6.
Tom, let's take a look at the replay. We told you the vehicles are mirror images of each other. Let's see how they react on the run.
Well, they look like it's a good straight-ahead run. Martin got off the line a little bit quicker, and that side of the track seems to be giving people a little more problem. Joey got a good straight run, but had a problem in the shutdown area.
Joey, it looks like you guys have got a good track to run on out there today.
Oh, yeah, it's real good. It's holding the horsepower. I got a little crazy out there, started going on me. I didn't want to get out of it. Had to dodge the barriers, went right in between them. I thought I was going to take one of them out, but got lucky.
Other than that, it was a perfectly straight run. The way my 16-year-old son would tell you.
One of the best guys in the business, Dan Brown, in the BDS Mind Games, up the line now. And I'll tell you what, this guy certainly knows a lot about this sport and has his share of successes in it.
You're exactly right. And what he's looking for right now, he went to the line and he's backing up. He's trying to pick a spot. He didn't like the groove that he was going to be running in. He'll be going up against who in that other lane, Tom?
In the other lane, it's going to be Steve Salvador, who is going to be driving a brand new vehicle called Quicksand. So new, in fact, you won't even see a name on it there.
Well, as a matter of fact, the vehicle we've seen before, he's a new owner of this vehicle. So you got a brand new guy and a new combination in the far lane that you're looking at right now. And then Dan Brown comes out, and this is like a guy in a pair of old loafers in the Whittier, California blower drive service vehicle. But all eyes are on the blue vehicle as Brown rolls into the lane. He's ready to go. When that visor goes down, voila, he's ready to go racing.
Well, it's interesting because you'd think if he were on his first run that Steve would want to draw somebody other than Dan Brown, but he's out there just to basically, you know, make a good showing, make a good run. And again, Brown and Salvador are both trying to beat that time of a 2.5.
You race the clock in this sport. You don't race the guy in the lane next to you. You've got to be aware of it. We got a race there. That looked good. That's a good side-by-side race. Brown a 2.55 with a 4. It's a good number. Salvador a 2.73. Not bad at all for the first time in the vehicle, Tom.
Dan Brown's 2.5 should put him in number 2, the number 2 spot. As we look, there's Rodney McGlynn with a 2.53, Dan with a 2.55, Tom Martin, Joey Villarreal, and Darren Tibbetts. We're back with more racing in a moment. Welcome back to Essex, Junction, Vermont for the New England Four-Wheel Jamboree Nationals. They're grooming the track. That gives us an opportunity to show you the monster truck exhibition that we had here. Army, these trucks have a lot of fun when they do this.
Yeah, and the people up in this part of the country get a chance to see them on TV, but they don't get a chance to see them up close and personal, and believe me, this weekend they did. The Black Stallion came out along with Kirk Dabney doing their number and really showing off. And that's what this is all about, just showing off. When it's all over, they go and they put the grass back down, and everything is just as well as it was. But one of the highlights is the tough truck competition, and that's gaining a lot of popularity wherever we go, isn't it, Tom?
Absolutely a highlight. These guys get out there and run around the track. They do it for glory. They don't do it for money. They do it for the fun. And wow, the excitement of hits like that. But
you know, that's not all that goes on here. You got monster trucks, mud racing, tough trucks, and the tough truck competition each week gets a little bit tougher, and guys are really leaning on it.
Boy, you know, even in casual racing like the tough truck, you still got to be careful.
Then you can walk over to the show and shine area.
Out on the midway, there's lots of action. Folks shining up their show trucks and hanging out and having a good time on the midway, getting ready for the show and shine competition. And it's all part of the Four-Wheel Jamborees, which are part of the Special Events Performance Series, featuring a weekend of four-wheel fun. There's the manufacturer's midway. Check out the chrome and polish of the show and shine competition. Make sure you contact the Special Events Promotion Company to find out more about the Jamborees and about other Special Events Performance Series events in your area. We're back to racing now, and you would think that would be Jeremy Finley in the S-Kicker, but not this week.
Now, Finley broke his arm in an accident, so he brought in Robert Heisner to do the driving, and this is an opportunity for this guy to take a ride in a piece of equipment that he's never been in before. Robert is a good racer, but he's never had good equipment to go against. He was scheduled to go against the Bonkers vehicle, but that vehicle will not make the call, so this is a break for Heisner. As we're watching the Bonkers team have problems, Heisner in the other lane will get that by run. Wow.
What a fast run.
You could hear that motor whining.
Look at that time. The S-Kicker clocks at 2.4. That's the fastest time. And on the replay, you have to wonder whether or not having Bonkers not running made him a little more confident. One less thing to worry about hitting. Here's Army. Talk about that run.
Okay, the very first time in the vehicle, very first ride, your neck brace blew off, by the way. Son, you going to the lead with a 2.49.
That feels good.
What did the run feel like to you?
Felt great. It's nice to be in a good car.
And nice to set a new track record. His 2.4 run is a new track record here at Essex Junction.
I'll tell you what, he's a good driver. He's giving the car a lot of credit. That guy can rock and roll with you. Who's going to be coming out next? Looks like Jimmy Carr out of Trenton, New Jersey. We've seen him on the circuit before in the 23 Ford Roadster. He'll be going up against another 23 Ford Roadster. This is out of the Buckeye State, Mike Lane. And Lane's been having some problems with his vehicle, the one closest to us. The vehicle's been going out and then hooking on him, and Mike is trying to work that problem out all year long. So let's see if he solved the problem. Car in the far lane, Lane in the near lane. Vehicles look identical. They're both 23 fiberglass replica Ford bodies, relying on supercharged big block Chevrolet engines, generate around 1,500 horsepower apiece, Tom.
Track's been freshly groomed. We should have a good straight-ahead run, and the time to beat now is going to be hard to beat, that 2.4.
2.4 is a quick number, believe me.
Let's see how they do.
Car straight as an arrow, lane not able to work out his problem. Car goes to 2.58, lane out of bounds.
It looked like at about the 90-foot mark he went out of bounds. Jimmy Carr had a nice run, but just not quite fast enough. You'll see he does have a pretty straight-ahead run, though.
Yeah, Carr looks like he's coming down a flat Kansas highway, man. He makes a perfect run.
But
he's fighting it all the way.
You can see him, he's out to the outside there.
Meanwhile, Darren Tibbetts comes out in a supercharged Chevrolet version of a 27 Ford Roadster, trying to pick out a good lane. As all the drivers now know, the track has been reworked. There are good grooves and bad grooves out there, and everybody's looking for their groove. What'll work for them. All these vehicles are not the same width, so not everybody can run in the lane and the guy from the guy in front of them. In the other lane, you got Fred Wilhite coming out, the clown of the sport, if you will.
It looks like one of his little antennas off to the side there.
Yeah, he's the guy that has two little dingleberries on his helmet. Only one dingleberry's up, so he must have had a rough night last night. But he'll drive a vehicle called the Money Pit, sponsored by the M30 Hand Cleaner people, along with VP Racing Fuels, another big block Chevrolet for horsepower. And this guy will rock and roll you in a heartbeat.
Yeah, folks who follow the sport know that
yeah,
you're going to get a show when Fred Wilhite comes out to the line.
Ready, Freddy. That's what it's all about. Tibbetts in the near lane, Wilhite in the far lane. The far lane seems to be working better, but all the drivers say they want to get in the near lane, in the Tibbett lane. Let's see what Wilhite can do with him.
And again, the time to beat, of course, that 2.4, very fast. If there's one person who can do it, though, I'd put some money on Fred Wilhite.
I would, too. I'd put your money on it, too. Whoa, we got a number.
Great run by Wilhite.
Boy, both drivers getting down the old freeway pretty good. Wilhite, 2.5 with a 0. He was there. If it had been hand grenades, he'd have hit something. He was close, but that's not going to get the job done.
That time should put Wilhite in the number 2 slot, although it looks like he is in the lane that's more wet of the two, and perhaps Army can ask him about that. Army?
Well, Tom, as we get ready for Fred Wilhite to get his helmet off, we notice one of his antlers is kind of messed up here, so that may have affected the run. We'll have to wait and see. Fred, tell me about the track out there.
It's got some good potential. It's got plenty of hook out there. I feel that the right lane is definitely a better lane, but the left lane's what they give me.
So at this point, the top 5 standings look like this here at Essex Junction, Vermont. Robert Heisner with that 2.4, followed by Wilhite, McGlynn, Brown, and Martin. And we're back with more racing in just a moment. Well, the stands are full, and they're even spilled out onto the grass here at Essex Junction, Vermont for the New England four-wheel Jamboree Nationals.
Well, they know it's not over yet. We got a quick time out there, but we got a guy that is a guide for big game hunting coming out now. He's out of Idaho. His name is Al Jones. He'll be running the supercharged big block engine with the supercharged scoop, the blower scoop, if you will. The very top piece there is turned around backwards compared to other people. There's the guy he's trying to catch. There's the guy who owns the car he's trying to catch. That's Jeremy Finley and Robert Heisner.
Intently watching the run of Alan Jones to see if he can beat their time of a 2.49.
Alan Jones definitely can do it. He's been running a number all year long, runs the big mountain motor. You can see him psyching himself up. The graphic comes up. He kind of looks kind of a Grizzly Adam character, so you know he's not going to be afraid to rock and roll with these guys. He'll be going up against a vehicle in the other lane that he has a lot more horsepower than. In the other lane, the vehicle is running a naturally aspirated engine with a little bit of nitrous oxide. That'll be Charles Thompson. And Thompson basically is outclassed here. They drew each other just basically by the luck of the draw. So keep your eye on Jones. He can definitely be a player not only for this run, but also for the overall. And all the competitors know it, that 240 is not safe with Jones on that starting line.
Well, Robert Heisner and Jeremy Finley are certainly keeping a close eye on it, and they should be, because if there's someone out here who could possibly take the lead, it would be Alan Jones in the Mud Hen.
Well, if you walk out on the street and get in a slapping competition, you would not want the Mud Hen against you, I'll tell you that.
Let's see how they do as they line up here, just about up to the line.
Jones, a real wide vehicle, you notice. Oh, he's there.
That's a strong run.
Left turn, Clyde. He's coming across. Oh, what a run. Tom, what was the time?
Let's see if we can get a time here from the field. There it is, Alan Jones in the Mud Hen. Look at that, a 2.40. He is the new leader and the winner.
All right, yeah, last guy takes a shot at you. You can't fire back, and they look at body language tells it all.
Yep, they're probably disappointed, but they would say fair race, and Alan Jones did it. Straight ahead, straight on.
Good run, big wide wheelbase. Alan Jones out of Idaho is going to take the first place money home. But I wonder what the other driver thought when he saw him coming across. Like, oh, okay, go ahead.
I wonder if he signaled before that. A new track record, Alan Jones at a 2.40, followed by Heisner, Wilhite, McGlynn, and Dan Brown as some of the fans head for the concession stands here. Rounding out the top 10, Tom Martin, Jimmy Carr, Joey Villarreal, Darren Tibbetts, and Steve Salvador.
You are the man today. Congratulations on a great win. This has been a tough day of racing, too, hasn't it?
It has been, Army. A lot of good times out there. We're just happy to be here again for our sponsors, Schwing, CPR, and A&J Concrete Pumping, my new granddaughter, Anna Jones.
She has to be proud of her grandfather. Look at the standings. Finley on top, followed by Wilhite, Martin, Brown, and Comella. The stands are still full here at Essex Junction, Vermont. We're back in just a moment. Tractor Power is a production of Diamond P Sports. Cooperation